Okay, what if I told you that a modern-day blueprint for financial success has been hiding in plain sight for, just a few thousand years? Yeah, inside one of the oldest books on the planet. I want you to forget everything you think you know about ancient texts, because we're about to dive into a surprisingly practical guide to building wealth.
So, just how much does the Bible actually talk about money? Well, you might want to sit down for this. Our sources point to this number, 2,350. That's right, 2,350 verses that deal directly with money, possessions, and wealth. I mean, that is an absolutely staggering amount of financial advice packed into one book.
And get this, it's actually one of the most talked about subjects in the entire text. It's mentioned even more than topics like faith or prayer. Think about it. 16 of Jesus' 38 parables are all about wealth and possessions. So this whole thing with money, it's not some modern obsession. It is a timeless human concern, and it has some seriously ancient answers.
All right, so with all this talk about money, where does this ancient wisdom tell us to even begin? You might think it's with budgets or investments, right? Nope, it starts with something way deeper. We're talking about the true source of wealth and the mindset you need to tap into it. This is the foundation everything else is built on.
And this verse right here from Deuteronomy, this is a cornerstone. It introduces a really radical idea that building wealth isn't just about your own hustle and grind. It says it all begins with a power and ability that's given to you. So, what in the world is this power? Don't worry, we are definitely getting to that. But first, you have to believe that it's even available to you in the first place.
And that core belief, well, that's what our sources, like Yvonne Freely, call the abundance mindset. It's this deep conviction that your source isn't limited, that it's actually overflowing. It's that huge shift from seeing scarcity everywhere to seeing abundance and overflow. And let's be clear, this is not just some wishful thinking. It is the fundamental psychological switch you have to flip to even begin any journey toward real financial freedom.
Okay, so you've adopted the abundance mindset. That's step one. Awesome. But now what? How do you actually turn that belief into real-world action? Well, that is where the blueprint comes in. It's a set of timeless, super practical principles for actually building wealth.
And you know what? The blueprint itself is actually surprisingly modern and totally logical. It's basically a four-part system that takes you from idea to action. First, you plan diligently, write the vision. Then you got to back it up with hard work. No surprise there. From there, it's all about protecting what you've built by staying away from the debt trap and then systematically growing it through saving and diversifying your assets.
And speaking of debt, wow, this ancient take on it is incredibly stark. It's not just, a friendly financial suggestion. It is a powerful, powerful warning. The text literally frames debt as a form of modern-day slavery, where you're basically forced to trade your future, your time, your freedom, just to pay for things you bought in the past. Oof.
And this right here, this is what just brilliantly shows how timeless these principles are. I mean, look at this. In the story of Joseph, he advises saving 1/5. That's 20% during the good years. Does that sound familiar? It should. It's the exact same percentage recommended in the super popular 50-30-20 budget rule we use today. And the advice to divide your portion to 7 or even 8? Come on, that's just the ancient world's way of saying diversify your portfolio.
Okay, so we've got the mindset. We've got the practical blueprint. But just following the steps is one thing. What's the actual engine that powers this whole machine? This brings us right back to that mysterious power to get wealth that we talked about at the very beginning.
So, let's just ask the question one more time. What is this power to get wealth that Deuteronomy is talking about? I can tell you what it's not. It's not magic, and it's not just about working hard. According to the thinker Myron Golden, the answer is actually something much more profound.
And there it is. The power to get wealth is finding and solving other people's problems. That's it. See, wealth isn't something you chase after directly. It's a byproduct. It is the reward you get for creating real value in the world.
Now, this idea completely reframes everything, doesn't it? The money you want, it's already out there. It's in other people's pockets. And the only ethical way to get it is to offer them something they want even more than they want their money. So the path to true prosperity isn't about focusing on your own problems. It's about becoming completely consumed with solving their problems. Add value to their lives, and as a natural result, wealth will flow back to you.
So if building wealth is really all about serving other people, that brings up a really important question, right? What is the ultimate purpose of that wealth once you have it?
I mean, it can't just be about piling up more and more money. There has to be a destination, a why behind it all.
And this is where our sources draw a really critical line in the sand. The text never says that money is evil. What it says is that the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. And that's a huge difference, right? It's the difference between hoarding money for your own status and ego versus stewarding it, using it as a tool for a much bigger purpose.
And one of those key purposes? Building a legacy. And we're not just talking about leaving your kids some cash. This is about multi-generational thinking. It's about creating a foundation so strong that it blesses not just your kids, but your kids' kids, making sure they have a head start and don't have to start from zero.
So in the end, this ancient wisdom is telling us that the real destination of our financial journey, it isn't a number in a bank account. It's a life that's defined by how that wealth is used. It's this beautiful combination of being generous to other people, finding contentment in your own life, and building a legacy that will outlast you. That is the true return on your investment.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty challenging thought to chew on. What if we've been looking at wealth all wrong this whole time? What if true wealth isn't some destination you arrive at, but it's simply the natural byproduct of a life that's focused on purpose, on service, and on stewardship?